Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a very exciting video. It's a collab with DW or Dub's Beauty Diary. I will leave her channel and her Instagram down below. I originally found her on Instagram. She's the most supportive, I swear to you, the most supportive person on Instagram on planet Earth. She will comment on literally every photo. She gives you so much love and so much support. And of course, doing a collab video, we are going to be supporting each other on our YouTube channels. And like I said, I will definitely leave her video down below, or I'll leave her channel down below. She wanted to do a collab with me because I think I did my video with my neutral palettes, which I'll leave down below, and she was thinking colorful makeup but with a pop of neutral. When you think of colorful with a pop of neutral, it's like, oh, I have a lot of those palettes, until you go through and you don't really have a whole lot of those palettes. So she was telling me how like difficult it was to like go through her collection and to find colorful palettes with a pop of neutral. And I said, like, we should probably take some creative liberty. So there is some creative liberty, and I think in both of our lists. I only have a small stack here, but I definitely recommend you go down below, subscribe from her YouTube channel, watch the video, give her love on Instagram. She totally deserves any and all love given back to her that she has given to all of us. And the reason why this is so interesting is most people even outside the beauty realm, they primarily wear neutrals. You're not going to like the grocery store, and out of the people who are wearing makeup, how many people are actually wearing color? They're not. When you go to a special event, how many people are wearing colorful makeup? They're not. So to kind of gear towards the general public, if they do make a palette with lots of color, I feel like an obligation to throw in some neutrals to kind of, you know, pull in some of these people that wouldn't otherwise buy it. I myself am a full colorful lover. Me and DW both are. I love color, you guys know that. So I have these palettes for the colorful shades, not just the neutrals. We'll get right into it. I have, first off, is my Alyssa Edwards palette from ABH. Like I said, taking some creative liberty. All of this here is colorful shadows, but I feel like this palette is geared towards, you put some of these on your eyeball, you throw a blue on the lower lash line, a purple on the lower lash line. And I know Alyssa Edwards is a drag queen, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it, but like day-to-day people, sure, they may like to watch drag, but they're not doing drag. So I really just think the throwing some neutrals was to gear towards people who wouldn't otherwise purchase it. And honestly, they're the only shades that are actually good quality in this palette. I have my Menagerie Feral palette. I love this palette. It is super pretty. Really desperately need to use it more. But we have a full colorful palette, and I'm saying like 2.5, because this is a very shifty shade. You can't really tell like in the packaging, but these are true neutrals. Yes, they go with the, like, they ground the palette very nicely, but like maybe I wanted like another blue color. I have no idea. Or in like another shimmer. We only have 3 shimmers. What about a 4th one? So I feel like, you know, they're good options in the palette. They fit with the theme, but like it's a colorful palette with 2 neutrals through in. This one's a stretch, but colorful makeup doesn't always mean bright, and they don't always mean rainbow. So we got the ColourPop Lost in Wonderland palette. Here we got pastels. We have pastel pink, blue. See, this orange to me is kind of a neutral. With these oranges, they kind of bridge the gap. But we have green, we have purple. In my eyes, the only neutrals in this palette is this taupey gray brownish shade. The black I would consider a neutral. A lot of people wear black, and I consider this a neutral because of how close to like someone's skin tone it would be. If I put this all over the lid, you're not going to be able to tell that I really have something all over the lid. It's very subtle, but to me this is colorful pastels, but it's colorful with a pop of neutral. This is the first palette that came into my head, BH Mimosa. We have, it's really reflective and I'm very sorry, but we have reds, pinks, peaches, all of it. A nice neutral brown. We have a nice like champagne shimmer. This is a warmer brown, but it's supposed to like deepen or anchor. None of these are very deep, but this is the first palette I thought of. You have all this color and then you're just popping in a couple neutrals to kind of tie her in. Next off is my Profusion Ethereal palette. This one gets reminded of the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. I have made posts on Instagram. I have made a, is it reel? Is that what they're called? I don't know. The video short-term content on Instagram. I made those a video comparing this to Huda Beauty. This is Huda Beauty plus neutrals. And some other shades that's not there. But it's a very colorful palette, except we have a nice neutral brown. We have a nice gold bronzy shade. Then we have this like darker brown. But everything else, like this has a green shift to it, you can tell. This is one of those peachy shades. Like to me, I would consider this a neutral, but I know not everyone does. Because if I put that all over the lid, it ain't gonna look very different. And I also have two pans, look at that. But to me, this is colorful with a pop of neutral. I love this palette. I love all these palettes. Well, except for the ABH one. Next one is a little bit of a doozy. That is the Eloise The Queen palette. This one I've been trying to use quite frequently to see if I really want to keep it or not. It's very colorful in terms of pinks and purples and blues. Neutrals. These are my little pops of neutrals here. These I would consider more a mauve or a burgundy. Like to me, they're definitely more neutral. But like these, you can't deny this, plus this gold. You can't deny those. Well, and even this shade, this is a little too bright and a little too impactful for me to consider a neutral shade. Like that's what I mean when color does not necessarily mean a rainbow palette. This has very unnatural colors for an everyday average person to wear on a daily basis. At least it's people I know. I don't know where you're at. I don't know the community you're in. But around here, if they wear makeup whatsoever, it's nothing like this. There's nothing at all. I really enjoy the color scheme of this palette, but you can't deny that it's pop of neutral. And if I cover these three, it is just a pink and purple and a tinge of blue palette. These last two are the biggest stretch of the entire video. And my video is going to be quite a bit shorter, I think, just because I don't have as many palettes as DW. These two are the biggest stretch, and I told her, we need some stretches here. We need some stretches. If we both combined cannot think, because we think we have more than we do, but I have the Michaela Glam Light palette. When I think of this palette, I'm thinking of the purples, the greens, the blues, the pinks. Those are the colors I go into this palette for. I do not think of this palette and think, I want to do a neutral look. This one is bordering on, except for that purple shade, like warm. We got a peachy shade, we got a burnt orange shade. But when I think of this palette, I'm thinking everything there. Honest to God, I'm surprised she didn't do just those 3 rows and just condensed it down, but I'm glad they're there. I really enjoy these colors. To me, they make the palette more wearable, and that's coming from a person who loves and enjoys color. And I'm sure plenty of people bought this palette, you know, because these neutrals were in it. This is the biggest stretch because there's a lot more than just a pop of neutral. It's a whole row. But if you're thinking of it, it's 1/5 of the row. It's 20% of the palette. I wonder if she put this palette in her video. I think she has this palette. I love this palette. This is the last palette I have to share today. It is the Juvia's Place Culture palette. This is the color story. Obviously, like, of course there's mostly color in here, but I'm saying like a true neutrals are these two shades, and to me, like, these browns here I would consider as neutral, because this is pretty bright and yellow, and then these is obviously a yellow and an orange, like a burnt yellow and a burnt orange, and the rest of it obviously have green, pink, got some more peachy shades. This I'd consider neutral too. A whole row of blues, whole row of purples. But like, this is again another stretch for me, just because there are so many on the fence colors in this palette. But when I think of this palette, I'm not thinking, oh, I want to do a neutral look. Although I have done a neutral look with this palette and I really enjoyed it, I don't think of this palette as, yes, I want to pull that out for a neutral look. What do you guys consider as neutral? And I don't mean neutral as in like undertone, neutral as in natural, you know, what you would wear on a daily basis. Not even that, because like I'm wearing like a pink with a green shift on the eyes. Like I'm wearing, like I wore this to work. This is something I wear day to day. I wear green, blue, purple, all of it. I wear color way more often than I wear neutral. But if I were to go to like a job interview, like with a company I've never been with before, I'm wearing neutral colors. If I'm going to a wedding next month, I'm not going to be wearing bright, colorful makeup. I want something more natural, more subdued, more tame. You know what I mean? Like, what do you consider that? I would love to know. Like those peachy shades, I would consider neutral, because God forbid I blend them in a crease and you're not going to tell what they are. You're not going to tell what they are. Leave your comments down below. When you look at your palette collection, what do you deem as colorful with a pop of neutral? Knowing my collection, I did a whole eyeshadow palette collection video. I'll leave that down below as well. Knowing my collection, do you think I missed anything? I actually opened up every single palette, so I hope I did not miss anything. I want to thank DW from Deb's Beauty Diary for asking me to collab. If you're from her channel, I want to thank you for coming. Subscribe down below. It's always free, always welcome, and always appreciated. Like this video, and again, comment your thoughts, opinions, anything and everything. I love to hear literally anything you say. We can talk about nonsense. I don't care. I want to give a final thank you to DW, and I shall see you guys next time.